Once again, here on the steps, the plateau of St George's Hall, we've got 96 candles next to us, and of course the banners have been changed this afternoon as well. Justice and Truth. Mayor of Liverpool, Joe Anderson. But what a strange day, but what a fantastic day for the city.
Yeah, it's an emotional day for the city. I think obviously for the families and for all of those that were injured and emotionally scarred by watching the events at Hillsborough, it's an emotional day. I think the emotions for me though are one of relief because of the verdicts being announced today, and I think our city has always come together when there's been difficult times for people in our city, and we've been behind the campaign for justice for 27 years. So to actually get to the stage, 27 years, people need to keep reminding themselves about that. 27 years.
Have they done it, Joe? Have they lasted
well,
that
I think
long?
Because I think they've lasted that long, as people have been saying to me. I'm here with members, family members and stuff, and they're praising the city for what we've done, and I'm praising them for what they've done, because I think that they've led the campaign with dignity and determination, and we owe them a great debt of gratitude. This is a miscarriage of justice that the world should be proud that it's been overturned, not just Liverpool, not just the UK, but the world. And for me, I get real pride from saying how proud we are of them, but they tell me that it's a united thing, that they feel that they wouldn't have carried on without the city, and I guess that's right. I was at the memorial service, the last one at Anfield on the 15th, and there's no doubt that the spirit of the fans and the spirit across both sides, blue and red, has helped them and sustained them, and that's something that I think we all should be proud of.
Seeing social media today, we're seeing things coming from all over the world, and a lot of the main message is pretty much don't ever mess with a Scouser, and other people know that, and it's great to see that, really.
I was reading before The Spectator. If people remember Boris Johnson's comments when Ken Bigley was beheaded, and he mentioned Hillsborough, and he called the city self-pity city. I get really wound up when I hear people say that, or that we're whinging Scousers. Liverpool is always proud to stand up for, against injustice and for justice, and to support the underdog and support people who've been, if you like, treated in an appalling and bad way, as these families have been. So I'm proud of that. And if people say, well, that's something that is a trait of Liverpool, especially about Liverpool, then I think they're right. I don't think there's other cities that would have done as much as we've done to fight for justice. And it's great that today people can actually looking at one another, and especially the fans, especially those that have campaigned and really hard, can look at one another with real pride and say, well, we helped. And I think that's something that we should be proud of.
Tell us in your words, as mayor of this city, and also as a Scouser and someone who's very passionate about Liverpool, tell us in your words the impact Hillsborough had on Liverpool.
Well, when I look back at it, I was at the other semi-final that day, and I always say it was there for the grace of God go I, and whatever. But while we were mourning, people were kicking us, and people were plotting, scheming to blame the fans, and the establishment colluded with one another, and we've heard that today. And our city was stained. Our city was tarnished so badly, our reputation damaged. Obviously the families suffered, and all of the fans that were here and watched that were all partly, in some senses, suffering as well. But our city suffered, and that stigma that has been lifted today, as not only as our name being cleared and that stain removed, but we can also show how proud we are of the fact that we battled with the families to achieve justice, and that's a great feeling for the city, and a great feeling for everybody here today.
Going forward, Joe, I know you said today that wall of lies, if you like, has been broken down. What's next? Do we move on now? What happens?
Well, the IPCC and Operation Resolve, the two investigations, they will continue. They will take months. We don't want them to rush. I don't want them to rush. I don't want them to leave a stone unturned. And so 2 years ago, over 2 years ago when we had the HIP report, the independent report, and it revealed the truth. I stood on these steps here at George's Hall and talked about the truth being unveiled to the world, and what we wanted to follow was justice. And I think today we've had justice, and I think, you know, the next stage is about accountability. It's about holding people to account for what they actually caused and not the fans. So, you know, it's going to take some time. We have reached another milestone, but there's a way to go yet, and we'll be right behind the families, shoulder to shoulder, until they get to cross that finishing line.
It's funny, I was thinking today, the families, in my opinion, as someone who was a young boy at the time, and for a lot of people in the city, they've kind of inspired that young generation in Liverpool so much and made us all that little bit stronger, wanting to fight for what we believe in. What would you say to them families now? What legacy do you think they've left behind?
No, and I think, you know, in terms of historically, in terms of the legal annals of history, the campaign will go down in that. But as a city, I think it shows that the truth will always prevail, the truth will always be outed. And I think, you know, you're absolutely right that what they've done has been inspirational to the city, to me, to young people, and as I said, to the establishment, to say you cannot hide and cover up the things that you've tried to do. And there's got to be lessons learned by the establishment here. They've got to make sure that, you know, the media and the establishment can't collude in the future to actually cover injustices like this up.
Of course, just finally, a huge night here tomorrow, 5:45. We need you to get down and show your support. You're going to be obviously heavily involved in tomorrow night's action.
Yeah, but, you know, again, today was about the families, and that's what we said. And, you know, I spoke to the families about putting on the event tomorrow, and, you know, we were determined to allow the city to come together to thank the families and to you know, also I think say some prayers about the 96, you know, because finally they can rest in peace, and tomorrow our city can come together to show our solidarity and our support to one another and to the families, and that's what I think, you know, the city will be hoping happens tomorrow. So it'll be a good event here tomorrow evening.
Joe, we look forward to seeing you there. Thank you very much for
You're
chatting
welcome,
to us.
mate.
Joe Anderson on the Guide Liverpool, and please do check it out. Big event at St George's Hall, Wednesday afternoon, 5:45.